food as anything I can eat. I lean towards zone bars and almonds, but I have to restrict myself to both of those. Some of my favorite movies, I like Les Miserables, I like nearly all of Gary,
Tale of Two.
well, The Tale of Two Cities too, but Cary Grant's movies are always good. I like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Anything with Dick Van Dyke in it is good. I like the musicals of Astaire and Rogers. What do you like?
Exactly what you said.
Okay.
Food.
No, color. Well, what's
My
your
color,
favorite?
I like any shade of blue. And I like pink. Okay? I like books. I've got books like crazy. I love books.
Do you have a favorite
most
one?
Any kind of books I love. The Bible. My favorite one. Activities. Oh yes, I like hiking. That's the best one, I think. And music. I love music of all kinds, except a lot of the popular ones that you hear nowadays. Go ahead.
Well, I thought you were going to say the opera. We just got
Yes,
an opera.
I do love it.
Carmen, La Traviata.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite. I guess I did food already, didn't I? And movies. My favorite color is green. In books, I like the scriptures, but I like James Harriet's books about animals. I like adventure books. I like biographies. Just read Einstein's biography. I found it very, very enlightening. I like to hike, which I can't do much anymore of, but I like to build things. I like to clean things. I like the house.
Yes,
Music, I just like quiet, soothing music, but that's all right. Bad habits.
You don't have any
too.
bad habits. I have bad habits?
Certainly.
What are they? What's it?
You yell at me.
I
No,
never yell
okay,
at
all right.
you, Mark.
Don't you ever have any bad habits? Overeating?
When I was a little girl, I used to suck my finger.
Oh, how'd you overcome that?
Well, I just decided to.
Good. I had a lot of bad habits, still have some, but I told you I had the bad habit of smoking once, and I gave that up when I found that my son was trying to emulate me. Simple pleasures. My simple pleasures. I didn't get finished on that last one, Director.
He took it away from you.
I know. Simple pleasures.
Simple pleasures is watching a good,
A good video or hiking
listening,
or watching the animals.
Yes, and
Our pets.
playing the
Games.
games. We like to play games.
Play a lot of games.
Mhm.
And just being outdoors.
Mm.
And our complex pleasures are
I like being with our grandchildren
yeah, that's true.
very much. Okay, church experiences. Well, years and years ago when my twin boys were very small, I decided to get them baptized. We were in an area where there was a very nice church, and I wasn't a member of our church like I am now today, so I thought I'd get them baptized. So the minister was up there, and he had them standing about waist deep in this water, and the two boys were waiting, and so he said something about coming to him, and they both swam out to him. Everybody broke up laughing.
We told that story already, but that's okay.
We did. It was so funny.
I've had a lot of church I've been elders quorum president, state mission leader, ward mission leader, you were a state missionary. State missionaries. I've taught Sunday school. We taught the primary for a couple of years. We give a lot of firesides on how to stay happily married, how kids can keep out of trouble.
We love
We've done that. Well, yeah, but we've had a lot of experiences doing that. We've helped people.
Favorite church callings.
Oh, well, those are my
Same thing.
callings. Same thing, basically.
Do what you can.
We've helped people build their barns. And
Oh gosh, yes.
houses and stuff.
Torn down barns and built
Yeah.
barns. As
Yeah.
well.
Now, what are your retirement plans?
My retirement, I'm not going to retire. I'll just keep on doing what I want to do.
Okay, well, that's kind of what we're doing.
Uh-huh.
People think we're retired, but
We work pretty
we're
hard.
just tired from just doing the things we need to do to keep going.
Yeah, that's it. What would you like to be remembered for? Well, I think the main thing is the joy of our family.
A mother.
I am a
I know that's what you'd like to be remembered for. Mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and finally a wife.
Right, now it's your turn.
No, he skips me.
Oh, don't you scritch him. Scritch.
Well, I'd like to be remembered for
Mhm.
helping people, one thing.
Oh, he
And,
does. He helps
and
people.
I'd like to remember for being a happy guy.
Whenever anybody up and down the road has a problem, it doesn't matter whether they run out of something or they have had a flat tire or they need gas and oil, anything, they all come right away to John.
Or
because
counselor.
they know that he will help them.
Okay, all right. Life's lessons.
Life's lessons. Go for it.
Well, I think life's lessons, you learn by doing, and I think that if you follow the teachings of the Savior, you can do anything. And that's been my experience in life and business and up here and living in the Tules and everything else. But I think the most important thing that people need to learn to do is to discern the truth of the things around them and to think effectively. So many people are just like sheep. They're just led around by their noses. You have to stand up for what's right.
Afterlife. I'll let you know. Afterlife philosophy, I'll let you know. So if you feel something on your shoulder one night or one day.
Well, that's it. But you believe in an afterlife.
Of course
and
I believe
do,
in
and
an
I think it's
afterlife.
very real.
We had the most beautiful thing happen to us. John had one of John's sisters, an elderly lady, and a very, very sweet, loving lady, has passed away. She passed away, and we were fortunate enough to be able to see her just before she really went. But her daughter, one of her daughters, was with her. We went to see another friend who was having problems. This was not in our home area, and this was just this year. Her daughter told us when we came back in, she had passed away. This lady that we know, relative of ours, and she told me some things that I thought were the most beautiful things I've ever heard. She said her mother was out of it, actually, completely, just breathing. And all of a sudden, eyes closed, and all of a sudden she said, "Oh, I can stand up." She hadn't been able to walk for a long time. "I can walk and I can I can run." And she was smiling, just so happy. And she said, "Look, I can jump over anything. I'm so happy." And she said, and this is when she's completely out. And she said, "This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life. Oh, I'm so happy." And that will remain with
So
me
you
for the
subscribe to
rest-
that philosophy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
She was out of it. She wasn't making anything up. And she was so happy to be going where she was. It was, I get all teary thinking about it. So don't ever let anybody tell you there's not an afterlife. Okay?
Okay, you want me to tell a few stories on myself of things I did when I was younger. Well, one of the things that the directors got to spill the acid, when I was in high school, I worked in the chemistry stock room. I was a A+ student in chemistry. I really loved it. But one day there was a bottle of sulfuric acid on the corner of one of the lab benches, and I'm always scurrying around. I'm never slow. And I scurried around, and I hit it with my elbow and knocked it off. And reflexively, I put my foot out to catch it from falling. I kicked it, and the glass stopper came out, and the acid went all over my clothes. And I jumped into a tub and put water over me to neutralize the acid, but the acid had already worked on my clothing. In the next period, I was in English class, and I was sitting there, and I looked down, and my shoes were dissolving, and then my pants were coming off. And I was kind of embarrassed, so I got up and went to the school nurse, and she said, well, we better take you home. So she said, Bobby, we'll take you home. So they took me home after.
How old were you?
I was in high school. And then the laughing gas was in one of my teachers who taught science, and his Mr. Dresser. And he used to always come behind me and pinch my neck, and I kind of didn't like him too much. But anyway, and I took a little beaker of nitric acid in his office and put a couple pennies in it. The copper in the nitric acid makes nitrous oxide, which is laughing gas. And so it filled his office full of this gas, which is also kind of toxic. And he was very upset about that and came into the classroom. It was on a Friday, and some of the students in the class were football players. And he wasn't going to let anybody out of the class until someone confessed of the crime. So we all sat there quietly until finally Bobby raised his hand and said, I did it, Mr. Dresser. And he took me into the office and scolded me. And then he brought the chemistry teacher in, and he scolded me. And they both said, Bobby, you are so smart in chemistry. You could win scholarships and go a long way if you just quit doing some of these tricks. So that was the laughing gas. In the movie theater, if you take iron filings and mix them with sulfur and burn it, you make iron sulfide. Now, if you put that in a mild acid, it generates a gas known as hydrogen sulfide, which smells like rotten eggs. So one time at a matinee at the theater, I went and I took a little bottle of dilute acid, and I'd made some iron filings and sulfur, burned them, put them in, I put it in there, and just let it kind of percolate in the back of the theater until finally the whole theater was full of this stinking gas, and everybody had to leave.
Terrible. Did I marry you?
I didn't know that until afterwards, but hydrogen sulfide gas is more poisonous than hydrogen cyanide gas. I could have killed off half the town.
Oh.
And then, is that another chemical story? Also, I worked at a market as a stock boy and sometimes a clerk. But anyway, and in those days, the refrigeration in the meat market the refrigerant was ammonia. It's in ours is ammonia in this right here too, but it's not used that much anymore. But anyway, one day the refrigeration in the meat market got a leak, and you could smell ammonia throughout the store. Well, ammonia is a gas, and hydrochloric acid is also a gas. And if these two gases come together, they form a compound which is ammonium chloride, and it's a white gas. It's a white substance, but it's so fine it's like smoke. So when I smelled the ammonia, I went down to the pharmacy and got a little bottle of hydrochloric acid and tiptoed through the store, dripping it all around. So when the fumes from the acid met the fumes from the refrigerator, it just caused smoke to bill out of the store, and they called the fire department and they evacuated everybody. It's a miracle. I didn't get put in jail. All right, now those are bad stories. Let's see.
This is the kindest, most wonderful man.
just take care of anybody, do anything for him. This is complete.
No, this is
hard.
my youth. Now, I told you that I had a clubhouse out of an old chicken coop, and we used to do experiments in there. And my buddy Lawrence Thor and I wanted to make some nitroglycerin, which is a very explosive substance. And you needed nitric acid to do that. We had the glycerin and we had all the stuff, but we didn't have the nitric acid. So to make nitric acid, if you take sodium nitrate, which is used as a fertilizer, and we lived in Southern California where there are a lot of orange groves, and they used it to fertilize the orange trees, and you boil it with sulfuric acid, which is battery acid, you can make nitric acid. So we went to the citrus warehouse and told them we wanted some sodium nitrate, and the guy said, "What for?" I said, "Well, fertilize the plants around the house and so forth." So he gave us a 50-pound bag of that. And then I had a buddy whose father remade car batteries, and he had gallons of sulfuric acid. So I went down, in those days you used to get Clorox in glass bottles. I can remember I had this gallon glass bottle of concentrated sulfuric acid and a little hook, my finger in there, and I'm riding my bicycle through town with this thing. Anyway, it's unbelievable. But we got back to our lab, and we had a retort. We mixed these chemicals in, and we're cooking it, and the nitric acid's coming off. We're really excited about making this nitroglycerin, when all of a sudden the retort blew up. And all the little nitric acid is in there forming little droplets. Now, if nitric acid touches your skin, it turns it yellow. So all over our body, our hands, everything was exposed. Our nose, our ears, our face, had little yellow dots all over it. It's a good thing it didn't get in our eyes. So the next day we went to school. The school authorities thought we had some kind of a strange disease. But we had to finally confess what we did and explain to them that it was the nitric acid. But those were...
I'm so glad you got all this out of your system before I ever met